Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. Let's get started with our hosts, Linda McKissick and Dana Gentry.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. I'm Linda McKissick.
And I'm Dana Gentry.
Did you forget for a second who you were?
No, I was actually grabbing this to show you and forgot that it was my turn to talk because I wanted to see. Did you see Jesse's new book? Fans
No,
Love that.
I'm getting it.
No, that is a great book. In fact, what he has been able to do is phenomenal.
Incredible.
And we learned what he learned and we were willing to get outside our comfort zone and do what he does.
Well,
Yep.
Hi, everyone. I want you to introduce Dianna Kokoszka to you.
Our special guest. Welcome.
Our special guest.
People are listening like, wait a minute, I know that voice.
Yes, we're super pumped. Dianna and I are doing girl stuff. We're hanging out and we want to talk to you, Dianna, today. We're so happy you're here. And we want to talk to you about one of the things that I think is you're probably the greatest student of us, which is your mind. I mean, I've probably heard you a million times correct yourself and say things differently because your brain is always listening, as we learned today.
That's right. Absolutely. You know, our brain's involved in everything that we do, Linda. That's the important part. And I have so much fun hanging out with this lady. I mean, we talk about everything and yet we laugh so much. It's really good for the soul.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of agents out there are not laughing enough.
Yeah.
They're just not.
I
So
taught
true.
Quantum
My
Leap.
tutor said the other day she felt like a therapist.
Oh, yeah.
Because everybody was crying in her office, which I don't blame them. If I had to write 15 offers and people didn't get houses for the last 2 years, I'd be crying too. You know, it'd be
I was
hard.
actually going to tell you that, Linda, and Dianna today too. So Friday, I'm teaching Quantum Leap. So Friday I taught it in Ohio, today in Indiana, and tomorrow in Kentucky. And just a half day, kind of a quick version of it. And it's interesting to me. I haven't even gotten through all the material so far in 2 days because of the conversations that everybody's wanting to have. It's opening up so much more conversation than I feel like what people normally would share. And it's just interesting. I've just had a lot of ahas over the last 2 days. So
Yeah. So you mean they're just kind of wanting to talk more about personal things than
Yeah.
ever, or
yes, absolutely.
are they reevaluating their life? Are they, what's kind of the theme?
I think it's that. And I think that they're just needing to be reminded why they're waking up and doing what they're doing every day.
Mm.
And a lot of today, I mean, we talked today for an hour off topic of just finding that good counterbalance where people feel like they have to have this perfectly balanced life. And they just can't, they feel like they're on a hamster wheel. They just can't keep everything going all the time. So it's been interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Well, that brings us to our topic today, mindset, mindset of productive people and the importance of mindset. So Dinah, what would you say? I know you're a big student of this and you read, I see you read books all the time about it. So what would you say to our audience today? Let's talk about mindset.
Well, I think the first thing is mindset really does matter. And a lot of people don't realize how much it matters.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, my stories and whatnot about when I was growing up as a teenager. I mean, it's tough enough getting ready for school,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
And so here we have 3 siblings plus a cousin living with me. And mom and dad, in an effort to really help us, gave each of us 15 minutes in the one bathroom, right? Well, it was real fun. And it was good if you were number 1 or 2 position, but when you got to the number dreaded 5, oh my gosh, everything was crazy. And we had to leave at 5:30 in the morning to go and work at the grocery store. So you wanted to make that car ride because you didn't want to walk over a mile to school. Well, Linda and Dana, what was interesting was I was in that number 5 dreaded position. You know, mom and dad rotated it, giving us all our fair share of unfairness. And that day, my brother was oblivious to what was going on. I mean, he didn't care that I was outside pounding on the door saying, let me in, let me in. And finally, I'd had enough. And so I took the rat tail comb. If you've ever done this, you guys know what I mean. Take the rat tail comb and you push it in the door handle and you pop the door open, and I'm going to give him a piece of my mind. And what he was laying on the floor.
Oh gosh.
And he had a towel wrapped around him. His eyes rolled back. I thought he was dead. And I mean, you've heard about the shot around the world. This was like the scream around the world.
Oh man.
And everybody came running. Well, to make a long story short, they're off on their way to Salt Lake City, about 4-hour drive, and they discover that Larry has a brain tumor. Now, back in those days, neuroscience was in its infancy. And when he came home, he had to learn how to walk and talk all over again. So mom and dad gave him this reel-to-reel tape recorder, which for those of you listening, you may not know what that is. It's a big spool and it goes through and onto the other side. I would say a word, Larry would say a word, we'd rewind it and listen. I'd say the word, he'd say a word, rewind, listen. And this kept going on and it was monotonous, yet Larry kept getting better. And then we gave him books to read. And even though those books were made for pronunciation and for him to get better, there was one book, it was called The Little Engine That Could. And when he read that and I was listening and I'm going, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. Does that really work? Or is it just another fairy tale like Cinderella, right? And the more I thought about it, that's when everything started growing about when I wanted to learn about mindset. And was it really true? And if it worked, how did it work? And why did it work? And I realized through all of this study that I've been doing and meeting with doctors in the last 2 years, especially going through brain scans and really working to understand, why are people successful? Why can you go from where you were to where you are now? How could I go from where I was and putting my kids in a little red wagon, not being able to afford a babysitter, to the C-suite? I mean, how does that happen? Well, I found that mindset is made up of your thoughts, your beliefs, your values, and your emotions. All of those working together to literally make up your mindset. And mindset is 90%. Now, this is according to research, of your success. 10% is skill. And I also found that there's certain mindsets that limit us and other mindsets that liberate us. And we're in not just one mindset at any time, Linda and Dana. We're in multiple mindsets. And the difference is that a lot of people don't realize, they think that their mindset is just right there, right? And whatever their mindset is, if they're positive, then they've got a positive mindset. No, your attitude may be positive, yet you may be harboring a scarcity mindset, therefore keeping abundance away from you.
So do you think mindset, Dianna, is it those thoughts that go through our head, those limiting, you know, how everybody has that narrative that's in our brain? Is that considered your thoughts, your limited thoughts? And then when you can kind of re-engineer that and say, you know, if it's to be, it's up to me, if, you know, why not me, and all those things, what kind of give us a little more definition of what that would play out like in somebody's life?
Okay.
And how do they change it if they've got one that's not working?
It's a great question. The main thing is we have that self-talk. Dr. Lee Vygotsky said at the age of 3 is when we really are able to determine between just the thoughts that we have and that voice in our head. And I'm not talking about the still small voice that guides and directs us in the right way. I'm talking about that voice, the one that the doubter that puts doubt into our head. And with him talking all the time to us about, you can't do this, you're not good enough, all those things. Well, it's the more you think that, the more you believe it. And the more you believe it, the more actions you take in that direction. So Linda, when you're talking about that, how do you change it? You have to change the voice in your head. For every negative, you got to say it about 12 times positive. Affirmations do work. They work over and over again. And people say, well, it's an illusion, I'm not that way. And I'm going, you're not that way yet, right? See, when it comes to mindset is how you see the world that you live in, right? It's
so is it like your perspective?
Yes, well, to a certain degree. Yet, see, attitude is how you interact with the world. So that's why they're different. Mindset is how you see the world. And your attitude is how you interact with the world according to how you see it.
So an example of that to be, I see the world that anything's a possibility, that if if someone else has done it, there's got to be a way I can figure out how to do it. It is, and then attitude is what I do with that, or
That's why you have such an achiever attitude. I think because you always
it's not
want
that I don't have the limited voices, and I'm sure all of us do. I've never
Right.
met one person that doesn't.
Mhm.
And I've heard, I don't know if this is true or not. You may have read a book that told you something about it, but I've heard that narrator in our mind came from years, stone ages ago, to protect us and keep us safe. And so I guess it just has never gone away.
No, in fact, we're the ones talking to ourselves, and we're the
Mhm.
ones listening. And it's literally from a buildup of energy that comes within your body.
Mm.
And that could be
Wow.
nervous energy or fearful energy. It could be excitement, right? All of those voices are being in our mind because of the feelings and the emotions that are taking place within us. And so we're held hostage to our thoughts, that self-talk. Now, we have anywhere from 6,000 to 80,000 thoughts a day, depending on
Lord.
which doctor you listen to or which research paper that you study, right? I don't care how many it is, it's a lot.
Mhm.
The problem is 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts you had yesterday and the day
Mm.
before that and the day before that. So when you have the attitude and the mindset, because yours are collectively the same in regards to possibilities, you see possibilities everywhere,
Mhm.
and you're always looking for possibilities.
Mm.
Whereas someone has the mindset and self-talk that possibilities are only for the rich.
Mhm. Or you're so
mean,
lucky.
Yeah, yeah, luck. That's another.
Yeah.
Then they're not going to see the possibilities. They're going to be right there. And it's mainly
Mm.
because of this little thing called the reticular activating
Mhm.
system. This is where Larry had his brain tumor, was at the base. So he got me kind of started on that part of our brain. Well, the reticular activating system, the RAS for short, is literally like our Google search engine.
Mhm.
When you put in the search bar what you want to look for, right?
Mhm.
The only thing that comes up out of the trillions of things that could are what you're looking for.
Mhm.
That's your RAS.
Mhm.
Because scientists tell us that there's anywhere from 2 million. Now, Dr. Joe Dispenza just said there were 7 million bits of information happening every second of every day. And as that would be like confetti falling from the sky.
Mhm.
In one person's brain, in your brain.
In Dana, great point to clarify. 7 million bits of information are going on all around us. There's light
Wow.
filters, there's dust, there's somebody walking by us, there's all these things going on that we don't even notice a lot of unless we tell our reticular activating system it's important.
Yeah.
So here you are searching, all these blue things come up, and you get to choose which one you want. Everything else is away. So if I tell my RAS there's no possibilities out there, guess what? There's no
not gonna see
possibilities
'em.
out there. Even if they're sitting right next to you, your
Mhm.
RAS says those are not important. I'm not going to bother you with
Wow.
them. Your brain cannot handle it at this time. So I'm going to show you all the areas that are not possible for you to have. So we do it to ourselves. We're actually training ourselves every day.
You know, you mentioned the guy, Joe
Dispenza.
Dispenza. Sorry. I just heard about someone going to his retreat, like Maria Menounos or something. I
Yeah.
listened to her podcast. What is he all about this kind of stuff? Like,
Yes. In fact, I had Joe Dispenza at my home and invited a few people over. This was,
dang
oh
girl,
gosh.
Where were we?
Me and Dana.
This was about 8 years ago. I just invited a few people that were there in Austin because it happened so fast. And a lot of them had places to go. So I got to sit there and talk with him for like 2 hours. And he said the way that we hardwire our brain reflects the problems and the personal conditions and circumstances in our life.
Mm.
And so to change, we've got to think greater than we are. We've got to think better than we are. And every great person already knows this. I mean, whether it be Gary Keller or Mother Teresa or Martin Luther King or any of those, they had a dream. They couldn't see it, couldn't touch it, couldn't feel it, yet it was so alive. It was so alive in their mind. They brought it to fruition. And that's what we've got to do. In fact, you know, the best way I can put this is everything that we want to change, it's an inside job. It's not up to the market center to make us better. It's not up to the team leader to make sure we have everything. It's up to us because, well, Shane and I were walking along the beach in Mexico. This is right after Renee had passed away from cancer, his wife. So I went to Mexico with him, and I'm helping him kind of clean out some of the stuff, which is a little challenging to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're taking this walk along the beach, and Linda and Dana, I saw this netting. There were like 4 posts that were sitting up and all this net around it. And as we got closer, my word, I thought it was like gold at Fort Knox. It was so tied down. And we got to the other side of it. I said, "What is this?" And Shane said, "Well, it's sea turtle eggs." And of course, at a sign, sea turtle eggs.
Yeah.
And he said, "Maybe they'll hatch while we're here and we'll get to see them go along to the ocean and we can help keep the predators away." Well, as we walked a little bit further, I said, "You know what? That reminds me of our life." Because see, that egg, if a predator gets to it and an outside force breaks that egg, what happens?
It doesn't have
Dead. Yeah.
Life ends.
Yeah.
I mean, it's dead. Yet, if it's broken from an inside force, life begins. So if we allow this environment that we're in to break us down, our business could die. Our financial life could die. I mean, you can't allow the environment to make up who you are, because the minute you let the environment start doing your thinking for you, then you're going to be organized to reflect everything that you know your life to be, and you're training your brain to be in the reflection of the environment that you're in or that you choose to be in.
You know, and I think people don't realize how important what you put in your brain is. I noticed, like, I haven't watched the news since the election. I didn't even know who won the election because I started paying attention to my energy as I listened to it. It was just it was driving me crazy. And then over COVID, one of my friends had me start watching, I think it was Nashville, the house we went to.
Nashville.
And honestly, I couldn't get through it all. And the reason I couldn't is because that all the drama, the ups and downs started to weigh on me. And my girlfriend said, "How did you not finish that series?" And I'm like, because I knew it was affecting me, but I couldn't figure out how. You know? And I realize now it's because all that drama was just messing me up. You know,
Linda, oh, sorry. I was going to say, Dianna, well, one of my questions and one of the things I had written down, Linda, you just walked right into it perfectly. I've had on my sticky on my computer, I have it in my phone. I have this thing everywhere that Dianna, you taught me one time, and you said, if you realized how powerful your thoughts are, you would never think another negative thought again. And that made me think about that, because it actually sends things in our brain to make us continue to think more negative. And I feel like, Linda, it's like sometimes if I want to watch those Narcos shoot 'em up, like the shoot 'em up Mexico shows, I can only watch 1 or 2 because I tell Adam I get so stressed out watching them. Like I have to stop. I can't watch anymore. But I thought about when you said that, Dianna, and I've never not thought about that. I share it with people all the time because we don't realize sometimes what putting that negative stuff into our mind actually does. You know, I've heard Chris Hodges say many times he doesn't listen to mainstream radio, and he never has, because he said he doesn't want to put it in his mind, you know? So I was thinking, like, what advice would you give somebody who maybe feels like they are thinking more on the negative side and they have negative things coming in? Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like right now our world is
so negative.
Yeah,
so
we're just
so uncertain.
Yeah.
Well, the main thing is you think about feeding your body every day. And so what do you feed your body? You want to put in healthy food, water, the things that are going to help you. By the way, water helps your mindset. Wow. The other part is, what are you feeding your mind? So very quickly, and I'm going to do this so fast that if a doctor is listening to this, they would like roll over. Yeah, you have 3 brains in one. Number 1 is the frontal lobe. This is the part that's right here. And it literally, it's the have portion of your brain. It's like, gotta have it. It wants information, and it wants new information all the time. This is why we have agents that say, "Oh, I took that class once. I don't need to take it again." Like they got everything out of it, right? Well, so you've got that. And then once you learn it, if you start implementing it, this is the big key. When you start implementing, you go to the doing part of the brain. This is the limbic system. And the limbic system is where all the decisions are made. And you do it and you do it and you do it so much that then it goes into the cerebellum, which is the being part of the brain. You actually become it. Now, the part that's happening through all of this is every thought very quickly. You have a neuron, and so we have more neurons in our head than we have stars in the galaxy.
Good Lord.
So you have a thought and it explodes from the neuron, so to speak, and it runs along the axon, which is 1/100th the size of one hair on your head.
Wow.
And as it goes along the axon, then it comes to this little area and it jumps over a synapses. This is where the thought finally is produced to where we can bring words to our mouths, right? And say them. Well, as it makes that jump, it's a quantum leap is what it's called, by the way, and it releases chemicals. Well, if it's a bad thought, it releases bad chemicals. If it's a good thought, it releases good chemicals. And so when you think about chemicals, alcohol, for example, it's a chemical, right? Drugs, they're a chemical. Well, if you drink too much alcohol or take too many drugs, what will happen?
You'll get addicted, or
You get addicted to it.
get unhealthy or something.
And so what happens if you're addicted to alcohol and all of a sudden you don't take alcohol anymore, or you're addicted to drugs and you can't find them? What happens to you?
Well, I don't know personally, but they have withdrawals.
You lose it. Yeah. Yeah.
So because our cells, see, every thought that we have, the cells inside our body will hold that thought for up to 3 days. So when it's holding that thought and that chemical inside of it, and so you said if you have alcohol, you become an alcoholic, and now you don't get that alcohol, your cells are saying, give it to me, give it to me, give it to me, and you have withdrawals. Same with drugs. Well, if your thoughts are chemicals, then why would
How's
you
that
not
different?
get addicted to your to your
Oh.
thoughts?
Wow.
We are addicted to our thoughts. We're all addicted to them. And based upon our mindset and how we're thinking, we become addicted to our thoughts. And so when you look at all these different mindsets, and I do want to kind of share with you, I mean, Carol Dweck did this whole book on growth versus fixed. And right now, I think it's so important that we pour into our kids. And I know I'm kind of hijacking this right now, yet I love kids, so I want to get this out, is the fact that what kind of mindset are we putting in our children? Because it's growth or fixed. Growth is where you want to learn, you take feedback, you don't go on the defense. Everything is about learning. You've got a growth mindset. So do you, Dana. Fixed mindset is where everything is either you're intelligent or you're not intelligent. Either you're good or you're not good. And so how do we get our children into fixed mindset? Most of the parents are doing that. Kid gets a great, maybe they get 100% on their math test. And what does the parent generally say? Oh, you did so good. Look how smart you are, which just meant you're smart. Other people aren't.
Yeah.
Oh, look how beautiful that little girl is. Does that mean you're not beautiful? That means some are beautiful, some are not beautiful. Putting in a fixed mindset, because we're literally labeling things. Whereas when we praise, oh, honey, 100% on your math test. I am so proud of the effort you put into learning that math.
Yeah.
Now we're giving them into a growth mindset saying, hey, you're the little engine that could. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. See, a fixed mindset won't even look at that.
Well, and I've also
Love
heard
that.
along that same line that if you praise just the result and not the activity that got them there, if they don't think they can get that result in something, they don't even try.
Exactly.
Yeah, because they don't want to not be smart, and they think smart is that, instead of realizing that you want to actually praise the activity and the effort it takes to get whatever you're trying to get. And then they will connect the dots that it's effort that's important, not necessarily if I can't get the 100, I'm not going to do it, whatever that is, that grade. that class or that sport or whatever.
Well, and how do they cope with setbacks? See, if we teach them to be a fixed mindset, or we have a fixed mindset, we don't cope with setbacks at all. I mean, like, we'll shut down completely if we don't get the contract through, if we don't get, see, unfortunately, I think a lot of people, I don't care if they're in real estate, insurance, I don't care what you do. I think the world is starting to put people in a fixed mindset. Think about it. You either get the contract or you don't get the contract. You're either successful or you're not successful. And as John Maxwell was talking with me the other day, and he said, Dianna, people need to learn that failure and success are the same.
Yeah, you can't
They're not
separate them.
different. And so they're not, here's failure and here's success. This is how they go.
You
And
can't
so
have
many
one without
people-
the other.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Be sure to subscribe for more business strategies and tactics to inspire you to live an abundant real estate life. Don't forget to rate and review so we can bring you the best content. Find this and other valuable information at everythinglifeandrealestate.com.